When you're trying to step up your kitchen scale production or small batch business, the last thing you want is a filler that looks great on paper but ends up being a headache you can't afford to waste time on. You're after something that just works, that you can set up once and trust day after day, and that actually pays for itself because it lets you move more product with less mess. That feeling of, is this the right investment or am I just buying another piece of equipment that will sit idle, is the exact hesitation most of us feel before clicking add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why the HQHAOTWU Rotary Pump Filling Machine might be the answer to that worry, and where it could fall short if your needs don't line up. First off, the biggest question people have with any filler is how easy it is to integrate into an existing workflow. The HQHAOTWU comes with an 80-liter mixing hopper that sits on top of the pump, so you can load a batch of sauce, soap base, or cosmetic cream and have it ready for continuous filling. In my research, I saw a handful of small batch food producers who were previously juggling a separate mixer and a manual pump, spending precious minutes transferring product from one container to the next. With this unit, the hopper does the mixing and feeding in one step, which cuts down on both spillage and the time you spend cleaning up between runs. If you're the type who fills jars for a local farmer's market or batches out handmade lotions for an online shop, that streamlined flow is a real productivity boost. Accuracy is another point that keeps buyers up at night. The specs promise high accuracy across a wide volume range from a tiny 10 ml dose for a premium serum up to 50,000 milliliters for a larger batch of sauce. In practice, the high accuracy claim translates to fewer adjustments during a run. Because the pump is rotary, the volume delivered per rotation stays consistent, and the intelligent control panel lets you dial in the exact amount you need. I noticed a discussion on a maker forum where a user compared a cheap diaphragm pump to a rotary model and reported a 15% variance in fill weight with the cheaper gear. The HQHAOTWU's panel, with its digital readout, helps you set and lock the target volume, which means you spend less time reweighing containers and more time packaging. Now, let's talk about the safety side. The emergency stop switch is a small but crucial feature. If the pump ever jams, something that can happen with thicker pastes, or if a stray piece of debris makes its way into the hopper, you can hit the stop and the motor cuts power instantly. That's a peace of mind factor, especially in environments where you have a crew of people who might not be as familiar with the equipment. The discharge port is positioned low enough to attach directly to a bottleneck or a funnel, minimizing drips and keeping your work area cleaner. So, who should actually consider this machine? If you are a small-scale food producer, a boutique cosmetics maker, or even a hobbyist who regularly fills jars of jam, hot sauce, or beard oil, the HQHAOTWU hits the sweet spot. The capacity of the hopper means you won't have to stop every few minutes to reload, which is a huge time saver when you're filling dozens of containers in one sitting. The adjustable volume range makes it flexible enough to handle both trial-size samples and larger production runs without buying a second filler. On the flip side, if you only need to fill a handful of bottles a week, the upfront cost and the space the unit occupies may not be justified. The machine is built for a semi-dedicated workspace. You'll need a stable, level surface and a power outlet that can handle the motor's draw. If you're operating out of a cramped kitchen counter, you might find the 80-liter hopper a bit bulky. Also, because the pump is designed for thick liquids and pastes, very low viscosity fluids like water or light oils could cause air entrainment, which would affect accuracy. In that case, a simpler peristaltic pump would be a better fit. A practical weakness that shows up when you dig a little deeper is the learning curve of the control panel. While it's labeled intelligent, the menu isn't as intuitive as a touchscreen you might see on higher-priced models. New users have reported spending a few minutes flipping through the settings to locate the exact fill volume they need. It's not a deal-breaker, but it does mean you should budget a short training period before you start a big production run. Another point to consider is cleaning. The hopper can be detached, which is helpful, yet the internal passages of the rotary pump require a bit of disassembly if you're moving from a food-grade product to a cosmetic base. If you're planning to switch between very different formulations, you'll need a dedicated cleaning routine to avoid cross-contamination. Overall, the value you get from this filler isn't just